Game information for you in lineups right after this touchdown trip.
Have you tried Chevrolet's new Power Glide yet? Well, here's an invitation to try it out for yourself. You ride and you'll decide it's a revelation. University Chevrolet invites you at your convenience to take a guest ride with Power Glide. With its new power and new acceleration on far less gasoline, Power Glide driving is a new thrill you'll surely enjoy. Before you buy your next car, you really owe it to yourself to see the new Chevrolets with Power Glide now on display at University Chevrolet in Gainesville. Just pick up your phone and ask for that guest ride with Power Glide. And another thing of great interest to you is the allowance you'll get on your present car when you trade it in on a new Chevrolet. So, first thing Monday, see and drive a new Chevrolet with Power Glide at the University Chevrolet Company in Gainesville. More people buy Chevrolet than any other car.
Hi again from the Kentucky-Florida scene where the Bluegrass Country is host to the Orange and Blue. Welcome to the 13th annual renewal of this Gator Wildcat Classic in the Southeastern Conference. Unless last Saturday's Florida-Georgia Tech ties duplicated, some team here tonight is going to trot off this field feeling that 13 is a mighty unlucky number. Up to now, our Gators are favored by nearly every picker, but the unknown of Bear Bryant's Cats could change the complexion of all pre-game dope, as Bob Woodruff's Stallions did last week on Florida Field. Remembering the rain? Well, each club has scored 2 touchdowns this season. Kentucky scored 1 in their 7-6 loss to Texas Aggies, and a TD in their loss to Mississippi last week. That was a score of 22-6 they lost to, and while Florida scored 2 against Rice, and none in the scoreless tie against Tech last week. Kentucky's won 9, the Florida 3 contest in the series, starting back in 1917. But the Wildcats are still smart and under Florida's 27-0 drubbing last year at Gainesville. I guess there's nearly 30,000 fans in McLean Stadium here where we're looking over the bowl and where Stoll Field is located. From here I can see across the street where the giant University of Kentucky Memorial Coliseum towers above the stadium, a 14,000 seating capacity gym built for Adolph Rupp's fabulous basketball greats to perform in. Yes, they've given the Florida boys and your radio men, Otis Boggs, may I say, of Polk City and Auburndale, good old Ray Dantzler, and old Salty here, a touch of bluegrass hospitality, beginning with their famous old ham and beaten biscuits, as well as a look at Calumet Farms' great stables and grounds this morning. We got a look at this rolling fantasy, as did the Florida Gators, and old Ben Jones, the famous horse trainer, showed his Citation, Arms, Bull Lee, and Bewitched, as well as many other famous horse flesh. We saw a famous Florida grid coach of the era 1923, 1924, right here in front of us, in the person of General James A. Van Fleet. And the Misses is here, too. They're currently on their way back to their home in Auburndale from England. And this afternoon, the annual Lexington Trot saluted the University of Florida by naming a trotting contest for us and one for Orlando. When I say us, of course, I mean Florida. Next week, the Hamiltonian of the South, the $70,000 Kentucky charity, is to be run, but yes, let's not leave this important field, because down in front of me now, I see the blue and white band of Kentucky. And Kentucky will be at their turning post on the field in this game. This might be their last year that they recruit exclusively from the state of Kentucky. Should they lose tonight, they may have to go back to the same recruiting as other colleges. They've dropped 2 games and stand to lose to Florida tonight and LSU next week, according to pregame dope. But this, the Bears added 7 new faces in the lineup tonight. But I can still see the great hulk of Steve Malinger, number 80 down there. You'll hear Otis talk about him a whole lot. And he's that senior who plays equally well at any position and who'll be the mainstay of the Cats. For Florida, we've awaited this game to watch the orange and blue offensive move. The defense has been the best in the nation, I think. And tonight, well, you may see the offense get right along with the defense. Casares has a bad shoulder. John Hammock is injured and didn't make the trip. Otherwise, the Gators are in top physical form. And the spirit is as high as I've seen it. And I've been covering Gator games since the great team of 1928 for my WDAE station in Tampa. And now, University of Kentucky Band. Let's see if we can pick them up. Well, perhaps you can hear them. We don't have a parabolic microphone up here tonight, but we do have outside stadium microphones, and perhaps you can hear the famous Band of 100. That's what they call the Kentucky Band, directed by Professor Warren Luke. And he's playing down there as they introduce from Florida and from the citrus capital of the world, Winter Haven, Miss Marion Eddy, the 1953 Orange Bowl Queen. I just heard a cheer go up because the stadium announcer introduced Miss Kay Keys, the Grapefruit Queen. And I wish you could see these girls. Miss Eddy is in orange, and her home is in Miami. And Miss Keys is in blue. And, of course, orange and blue out on the field is certainly beautiful. Now comes June Rose Ramsey, the Orange Blossom Queen. And behind her, Frances Moore, the Tangerine Queen. Yes, and believe you me, these folks from good old Florida up here in Kentucky, these girls on this field in their beautiful antebellum dresses with big hoop skirts, certainly are taking this crowd by storm. Listen to the applause out there. Well, now, while the band is playing in the background, I'd like to move over here and say, good evening there, Mr. Otis Boggs. How you doing?
Great, sir. Got a great night for football and a good crowd, and should be a terrific ball game. Better get on those lineups, I imagine, Edwin.
Sure would. And, folks, I want to tell you, Otis was not telling you the whole truth because he's been pretty well ill all week up in Gainesville, and we're going to hold on to him here and hope that this flu that he had doesn't get the best of him during this play-by-play, and I'm sure it won't, because when Otis broadcasts the Florida Gator game, he forgets about illness and everything else except the play at hand. Let's move over here and take a look at the hometown lineup, starting with the right end for Kentucky. Al Zampino, number 89 is at right end. Starting at right tackle for Kentucky, number 72, Bill Wheeler. Starting at right guard, Joe Cook, number 66. At center, Tommy Adkins will probably start, number 50. At left guard, Ray Correll, number 65 for Kentucky. At left tackle, Arvin Scriven. Now, let me interrupt, and let me give you the left hand quickly. Howard Schnellenberger, number 84. And now we're to have the prayer of the week. Now, this is brought to us here at McLean Stadium each week when they play a football game. And after the prayer of the week, we're going to pause here, along with this 30,000 fans, for 1 minute of silence in honor of our late Governor Dan McCarty. Let's see if we can pick up the prayer.
Help the world understand you. Be with our leaders as they guide us through these days of world tension, that all hate and distrust may be purged from the minds and hearts of all people. Let each of us realize that our duties as citizens are to continually grow in body, mind, and spirit. May the spirit of sportsmanship and goodwill to be shown here today be extended throughout the world.
That was Jim Hudson giving the prayer. And now 1 minute of silence for the late Dan McCarty, Governor of Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
was our national anthem played by the Kentucky band. And now let's quickly run through these backfield names because of them for Kentucky. We've given you the line. And quarterback is the key man, Bob Hardy, number 14. Right half, number 31. That's Tom Sheehan. And at fullback, Ralph Pallone, number 35. At left halfback, the great Steve Mallinger, number 80. Now let's run down the lineup quickly for University of Florida Fighting Gators and pick up first at left end, number 85, Jerry Billick, St. Louis, Missouri. He's a 186-pounder. And number 73 at left tackle, that's Howard Chapman from Corsicana, Texas. He weighs 234 pounds, 6'6". Casares right at left guard, number 66, 5'8", 199-pounder from Lakeland. And at center, Steve Delatorre, a sophomore from Miami. He's 5'7", weighs 189, and he's number 56. At right guard, Orlando's pride, Joe D'Agostino. He's a senior, and he's 5'7" and 216 pounds, all man, number 76. Right tackle is our Dan Hunter of Miami, a senior who's 6'4" and 213, and he's number 77, a big, tall fellow. At right end, Jack O'Brien, one of our tri-captains, number 86. And then in the backfield, we'll run through quickly because our captains are on the field. Doug Dickey, number 15 from Gainesville, will start at quarterback for Florida. At left half, number 28, Larry Scott from Pensacola. At fullback, Rick Casares from Tampa, number 20. Bob Davis, number 42, at right halfback. And now, before turning the mic over to our good friend Otis Boggs, here's a man with some sensible answers.
Do you know which teams will play in the Rose Bowl this year? It's still pretty much a matter of chance. But listen, don't take a chance on your brakes. University Chevrolet is offering a bargain special now that takes all the chance, all the guesswork out of brake safety. For only $4.25, they'll adjust your brakes, including all four wheels and parking brake. Yes, for $4.25, they'll inspect all brake linings, tap all air from the car's hydraulic lines, replace brake fluid, and adjust each brake. You'll get the maximum in brake safety for a very low cost. Think of it, only $4.25, and it might save more than one life. Have it done first thing Monday by the brake specialist at the University Chevrolet Company in downtown Gainesville.
World's most honored watch. All scores will be brought to you tonight. Up to you through the courtesy of the Lexington Herald Leader.
Florida's tri-captains Rick Casares, Sonny May, and Jack O'Brien have just won the toss to Tommy Adkins and Ray Corral, the co-captains of Kentucky. And Florida won, as I said, and will defend the west goal to our left. We're on the south side. There's not very much wind blowing. What is blowing is out of the east. Back to the right of us. That's where Kentucky will kick off. Florida will receive. And we're just about ready to go. You hear on the opposite side from us, the Kentucky Rooters. On this side where our microphones are located, our Florida Network microphones, you'll find several hundred Florida Rooters, and the Florida cheerleaders are here. So you'll hear plenty. Meantime, here's Otis Boggs, who'll do the play-by-play on tonight's ball game.
Okay, thank you very much, Sal. Quickly, let's get a station identification in before we have the kickoff, and then we'll be ready to roll for 30 minutes. Let's pause 10 seconds around the network for station identification. This is the University of Florida Football Network.
This is your World Series station in Gainesville, WRUF and WRUF-FM.
Back at our radio booth here at Stoll Field, Kentucky will kick off, and the man who's going to do the booting is big Steve Mallinger, the big boy from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. The ball is placed flat at the 40-yard line. Deep to receive for the Gators are Casares, Scott, and Burgess. Burgess is in there. He's deep. Ready for the boot now. Mallinger will do the kicking. Here's the whistle. Up on the ball comes Big Steve. It's a bouncer down to the Florida 21-yard line. Picked up by Larry Scott at the 21. He's up to the 25, up to the 30, to the 34-yard line, and hit at the 34 by Bill Wheeler. And another Kentucky man who came up fast on the kickoff, Ken Williams. Incidentally, we'll make that change in the lineup. Williams is in the ball game, replacing Tommy Adkins in the starting lineup. Now we'll get the Gator backfield for you quickly. Our center is Steve Delatorre. The ends are Billick and O'Brien. We have Wing in at one post. And now Casares skips over to take Wing's place. Wing comes out. Also check out Langham, who was in there on that opening kickoff. Number 53, Tom Langham, was in there for the opening kickoff. Did not field the ball. It was fielded by Larry Scott, but he's out. And Dickey and Dickey's in at the quarterback post. We have Scott at one halfback spot, Davis at the other, and Casares is in at full. Kentucky's defense is set. Dickey talking to the Florida team in the open Notre Dame huddle. For Kentucky, Zampino and Schnellenberger at end. Gator line composed of Billick and O'Brien at end, Hunter and Chapman at tackles, D'Agostino on right at guards, and Steve Delatorre as the center. Florida's ball now, first down and 10 to go on their own 35-yard line. First and 10 for the Gators from their 35. They're out of it fast. In the tight two, Kentucky defense is a four-man line. As the ball is taken by Dickey, drops back to pass. Scott throws one out there in the slot, incomplete. The screen intended for Casares is off his hands, incomplete. Al Zampino over there covering on defense for Kentucky. Second down, 10 yards to go for the Gators from their 35-yard line. Kentucky using a 4-4-3 that time. They had a four-man line up front. Four-man line for the Wildcats. One of the linebackers is Ralph Malone. Another linebacker is the end who's dropped off at Schnellenberger, the left end. There's a give to Scott, who cuts back at the 35. Drives to about the 37-yard line before they bring him down. Stopped by Ray Corral and Arnold Bevins. Scott makes it to the 38-yard line for a gain of 3, which makes it third down and 7. Third down and 7 yards to go as Larry Scott picked up 3 yards over Kentucky's left tackle on a cutback play. Dickey leads the team up to the huddle. Flanker wide to the right is Bob Davis, the right halfback. Man in motion now out to the left is Larry Scott. In the deep spot, it is a gift to Casares. Casares first two. He's to the 50-yard line. Spins and goes to Kentucky territory at the 47. On a chasing, ripping play as the two guards tied out the middle of the Kentucky line. D'Agostino right and O'Brien were ripping it open. And Casares just peeled right out of the middle for the first down. The Kentucky 47, where he was stopped by Ken Williams, the linebacker on the right side. Picked up plenty of yardage on the play. It's a first and 10 for Florida on the Kentucky 47. First down, 10 to go for the Gators. Here's a give wide to Davis. Davis cut back. Gets to the 45-yard line and stopped over there by Joe Cook and Bill Wheeler, defensive tackle and guard. That was a 13-yard pickup by Casares. Just a moment ago, right to the middle of the Kentucky line. As Florida set a flanker wide to the right, that was Davis, and then sent Scott in motion. And then gave it to Casares, who was the only man left in the top of the tee. Pick up that time for Florida, 3 yards, makes it second down and 7 on the Kentucky 45. There's a give wide to Casares, who cuts back, is hit at the 44, and smeared for the whole middle of the Kentucky line, led by Joe Cook and Ken Williams. They stopped Casares at the 44. Gain of a yard, which makes it third down and 6 for the Gators on the Kentucky 44-yard line. No score in the game. It's 0-0 here in the first quarter at Stowe Field. A beautiful evening for football, mild weather. In fact, balmy weather for October this far north. Doug Dickey quarterbacking the team tonight. Up over the ball comes center Steve Delatorre. Kentucky using a four-man line, a 4-4-3. There's a give, and spelled on the play is Dickey. Spelled by Ray Corral, who knifed in for the Wildcats. And Dickey was trying to bootleg the ball, and Corral was riding hard on him like a bird dog, and dropped him as he turned to make the handoff. Dropped him back at the Florida 49-yard line. So that sets up a fourth down with plenty of yardage to go. Now Kentucky will send back a single safety. It's big Steve Mollinger going back to the Kentucky 15-yard line. Back in front formation for Florida is Rick Casares. No score in the ball game. Also deep for Kentucky is Fenton as Casares is third, aiming for the coffin corner, hitting at the Kentucky 10, rolls down to the 8-yard line, and will be blown dead at the 8. Will be blown dead at the Kentucky 8-yard stripe. So the Wildcats will take over at that point. Now quickly we'll check the offensive backfield for you as a 43-yard group. The offensive backfield for Kentucky, we have Hardy in at quarterback, Fenton and Mollinger are in at halfbacks, and Pallone is in at full. So the Wildcats take over. First down and 10 to go from their own 8-yard line. Quarterbacking is Bob Hardy. Check in Joe Brodsky for Florida at fullback. Joe Brodsky comes in, Casares is out. Kentucky set for the left end split wide. That is Schnellenberger, who is split wide. Hardy gets the ball, gives it into the fullback for Pallone, who first across the 10 up to the 14-yard line. Now Pallone picks up 6 yards, driving well over right guard, stopped by Dan Hunter. Comes up to the Kentucky 14, call it the 15-yard line, a pickup of 7 yards. Second down and 3 to go. Second down and 3 for Kentucky from their own 15-yard strike. Up for the ball comes center Ken Williams. The ends are Zampino and Schnellenberger. In the top of the tee, we have Fillion, Pallone, and Mollinger. The left end, Schnellenberger split wide. Hardy quarterbacking. Hardy pitches out wide to the right halfback. That's Fillion. Fillion comes up to the 20-yard line before they bring him down, just short of the 20. Stopped to the right team by Art Wright, defensive left guard for Florida, and that is close to a first down for the Wildcats. It is first down and 10 to go for the Wildcats. First down for Kentucky from their own 19-yard line. Move the ball 11 yards and 2 quick running plays. Wildcats in a T formation. Hardy quarterbacking. The left end splits about 12 yards wide to the left now. That's Schnellenberger. Down in motion to the right is Mallinger. They give it into the left halfback and then pitch it to Mallinger. He's up to the 20, up to the 30, up to the 40-yard line. Pulled out at the 42-yard line. Beautiful play with Big Mallinger. Turns to the Kentucky 43 before they bring him down. First down and 10 to go for Kentucky. 24 yards. On a pitch-out play to Mallinger, who went wide. They faked it to the fullback Malone up the middle and pitched wide, and the tackle was made for Florida by Doug Dickey. And now, Florida takes timeout. With timeout on the field of play, here is your local announcer.
Do you know why more truck users everywhere buy Chevrolet trucks than any other make? Chevrolet trucks offer more of what truckers want. University Chevrolet is now showing the all-new advanced design Chevrolet truck, and you'll find that you can make a good deal for yourself. Be your own best judge. Stop in and look over this completely new line of low operating cost performers. There is one for you there. Drive it home. High trade-ins, good deals, your best reasons for stopping at University Chevrolet. Economy you've dreamed of for so long will be yours with Chevrolet, the truck that costs less at first, less per mile every mile it works for you. And remember, more truckers buy Chevrolet trucks than any other make.
The scoreless tie in the first quarter, 9 minutes, 22 seconds left of this first quarter, and the Kentucky Wildcats have sustained a 35-yard drive all the way from the Kentucky 8 to the Kentucky 43, where Big Steve Mallinger made the 24-yarder. First down for the second first down for Kentucky against one for Florida in this 0-0 scoreless tie, and here is Otis Boggs. Okay, so first and 10 for the Wildcats from their own 43. Bob Hardy doing a good job of quarterbacking. Kentucky in the 2 now. The flanker right to the right. That's Tom Fillion. The right end is split. Fillion comes back in close. Back to passes. Hardy drops back. Throws one out the flat. Incomplete. And almost intercepted by a Florida man. Almost intercepted down there. Almost caught by Schnellenberger. And almost intercepted by Dickey. Dickey and Scott both over there. And they had a chance at it. Almost grabbed it. Second down, 10 to go for Kentucky from the 43 with Hardy going there for the Wildcats. Pass out in the flat intended for Howard Schnellenberger, the left end, who was split wide on the play. Gators using a 6-2-2-1 defense, 6-man line. Kentucky in the T. Playing at right guard is Kiefer for Kentucky. The right end is split. The flanker wide to the right is Fillion. He now moves back in. They give it into the fullback. A pitch out wide to Fillion, who's up to the 45 and hit at the 45-yard line. Hit on a joking tackle by Larry Scott, who came up fast from his sidebacker position on the right side to drop Fillion at the 46, a gain of 3, which makes it third down and 7. Third down and 7 for the Wildcats from their own 46-yard line. Third down, 7 to go for Kentucky. Bob Hardy, a sophomore from Paducah, Kentucky, quarterbacking tonight for Coach Bear Bryant. Gator defense is a 6-man line. Now they move it into 7-man in motion. Out to the right is Mallinger. Goes out about 10 yards, sets up as a flanker. Hardy down in the center gets the ball, drops back to pass. Gets good protection, throws one out there, complete to Mallinger at the 40, at the 50-yard line, and he's dropped at the Gator 48-yard line. Beautiful pass out to Mallinger, who's the man in motion out there to the right. And Hardy hit him, and that makes it very close to a first down. An 8-yard pass play, about 7.5 or 8 yards, and it's going to be close to a first down. In fact, so close that we will have a measurement. While we have this measurement, let's call on our good friend Saul Fleischman. Well, all I've seen out there, Otis, is Mallinger. Of course, that Kentucky team looks great. They've moved that ball a lot farther than the Florida team has so far. The game is very young, 0-0 in the first quarter, and I see Florida has another team ready down there. I don't think they made that first down. Yes, they missed, I think, by about a foot, or maybe less than a foot. And so it's going to be fourth down and a foot to go. Here comes Kentucky up to the line, and here's Otis Boggs.
Okay, Saul, they're not coming out in punt formation either. They're coming out in the tree. Quarterback Hardy down there takes it and goes over the right side. They'll make it a first down. First down and 10 to go as Hardy went off left tackle. Fake to the fullback going off the right side, and he cut back over the left side. So it is first down and 10 to go for Kentucky. First down and 10 to go for the Wildcats on the Gators 45-yard line. Really about the 45 and a half. Top of the two, we have Figgen, Pallone, and Mollinger. Flanker right to the right is Mollinger. The right end is split. Here's the gap to give his end to Pallone. They take the Pallone, takes wide to Mollinger. He's to the Florida 40, down to the Florida 31. Mollinger to the Florida 31. Oh, the tackle was made by Larry Scott. Larry Scott and Steve Delatorre make the tackle for Florida. 15-yard pass play, complete, and they've been using Mollinger as a passing target tonight. Very well. Hardy throwing to Big Steve. And now, Kentucky takes timeout on the field of play. With timeout, here's a word from your local announcer.
With winter weather just around the corner, be good to your car. Be sure you have a winter changeover performed on it, and that way you'll be helping your car to give you better service during winter's cold. Your friendly Chevrolet dealer, the University Chevrolet Company, has a winter changeover special you'll want for your car. You'll get all old oil and grease drained and replaced with new winter weight oil. Also, they'll lubricate the chassis, repack the front wheel bearings, and change the transmission oil. All for only $7.45. Get your car ready with this changeover at University Chevrolet, your headquarters for skilled automotive service in Gainesville.
Still nothing and nothing, and here's Otis Boggs. Okay, Sal, first and 10 for Kentucky on the Florida 31. Here's a pitch wide to Mollinger on a pitch-out play. Takes Stevens head at the Florida 30, but carries forward to the 29 before they can bring him down. Mollinger took the pitch out and was dropped by Art Wright at the Florida 28-yard line, they say. Gain of 3 yards makes it second down and 7. Second down and 7 for the Wildcats. We're in the first quarter. No scores yet. In fact, we have 7 minutes remaining here in the first period. Up over the Wildcats is Ken Williams. The ends are Zampino and Schnellenberger. Quarterbacking is Bob Hardy. Hardy gets, drops, starts the pass, fakes the pass, and gives. In to Pallone, and the fullback is stopped short of the line of scrimmage. In fact, he might have regained it. D'Agostino came in and jarred him just short of the line of scrimmage. He lost about a yard on the play at the 29. Third down and 8 yards to go. 3rd and 8 for Kentucky as they try to trap play up the middle, and D'Agostino refused to be trapped. Our center is Ken Williams. Gator defense is a 6-2-2-1. Here's Kentucky with the ball. Hardy has it on a split tee, cuts back, is down to the Florida 20-yard line before they bring him down. Beautiful running by Bob Hardy to the Florida 20, and that is going to be a first down for Kentucky. First down and 10 to go as Hardy moved that ball 9 yards that time on the option play. Headed to his left, couldn't find a man to pitch to and cut back on the split tee play and went down to the 20. Kentucky set in a T formation. Gator defense is now a 7-diamond, 7-man line. Hardy gets the ball. Hardy drops back to pass. Gets good protection. Throws one in the flat. It's complete at the 5 for a touchdown. So Kentucky's Ralph Pallone for a TD. Kentucky scores. Hardy to Pallone, and the Wildcats lead 6-0. That time, Bob Hardy went out to the right, had good protection, and then at the last moment, flipped one up to Ralph Pallone, who juggled the ball about the 7-yard line, gained control of it and pranced on over into the end zone for the touchdown. So from 20 yards out, Kentucky scores on a sustained drive. They took the ball on their 8-yard line, never relinquished possession of it, and drove on for the TD. They lead 6-0, and Tommy Adkins will try the extra point. Holding will be Herb Hunt. Herb Hunt of Mayfield, Kentucky, will hold, and Tommy Adkins, a senior from Corbin, Kentucky, will do the kicking. Waiting on the snap from center Ken Williams. The ball is on the ground. It's footed up into the line. No good. No good. The charging Gator line comes in there to block it. Larry Scott was one of the men who got in front of it. It's no good, and the score remains Kentucky 6, Florida 0. Well, let's call in our good friend Saul Fleischman and see what he thought about that sustained drive of 92 yards.
Well, Otis, that was a 92-yard sustained drive, all the way down, as you said, beginning at the 8-yard line. And the payoff, of course, was Hardy's great pass to Pallone. Ralph Pallone juggled that ball on about the 5-yard line, but then he regained possession of it, scampered over for the touchdown, the two Florida boys hitting him just as he hit the goal line. Hunt's kick was bad, and Kentucky's Wildcats are leading by a 6-0 score. This may prove to be quite a scoring ball game before we're over, because Florida's offensive hasn't clicked yet. If it's going to click, it's going to have to click now. And Kentucky looks great on their offense. They're going to kick off from the right of us here, kicking downwind. Florida's receiving. And as we get set for the kick, 6-0 Kentucky, and here's Otis Boggs.
Okay, Duke Canute will kick off for Kentucky. A bounder down to the Florida 30-yard line. Picked up at the 28 by Spears, who's up to the 30, 35. Dropped about the 37-yard line by Dick Shatto. Dick Shatto drops him. And we have a new ball club in there for the Gators, a new backfield at least. We have Spears in at quarterback. Deering is in at full. Haddock and Watson are in at halfback. Our ends are Brown and Billick. Now it's going to be Manning in there at the other end instead of Billick. Spears gives in to Deering. Deering stopped at the 39-yard line. Stopped by Ray Correll and David Kuhn. Gain of 2 yards on the play, second down and 8 to go for the Gators. They have the ball on their own 40-yard stripe. Have it on their own 40-yard line. Have it on their own 40-yard line. Spears quarterbacking. We'll give you the line in just a moment. Manning and Brown are at ends. Cassidy and Fowler at the tackles. There's a give into Dillon with who does not get it, but it's given off to the left hand side to Dillon and just to the half. Gets to the 40, and that's all. Watson stopped at the 40. Dillon open up for him, but they faked the Dillon and was over on the right side of the Kentucky line. Duke Canute and David Kuhn met the play head-on. Stopped it for no gain. Third down and 8 yards to go for the Gators. Third down and 8 to go from their own 40-yard line. Kentucky leads 6-0 here at the Stoll Field in Lexington. Harry Spears quarterbacking. Harry Spears drops back the pass. Cox on, throws one. Complete to Ray Brown at the Kentucky 46-yard line. Tackled immediately by Dick Shatto. That was Spears. Complete to Ray Brown for a first down for Florida. First down, 10 to go. 14-yard pass up the middle. Spears pitching to Ray Brown of Miami. Kentucky leads 6-0. With 3 minutes, 51 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Up over the ball comes Sonny May at center. Our guards are Kurt Hagelgen, Joe D'Agostino. The give is into Deering. Deering off the left side of the Kentucky line. Punches down for about 1.5 yards before Lowry and Tom Harper make the tackle. They stop him at the Kentucky 41. Gain actually of 3.5 to 4 yards. So call it second down and 6 for the Gators. Second down and 6 yards to go. Deering off the left side of the Kentucky line, refusing to go down and still driving at the end. The give now is on the pitch wide to Watson. He's at the Kentucky 40, the Kentucky 35, and out of bounds on the Kentucky 34. Dick rushing, chased him out of bounds on the 34-yard line. Down to the Kentucky 34, pickup of just about 7 yards. It is a first down. First down and 10 is Watson made enough on the pitch out. They swept Kentucky's left end. First down and 10 to go on the Wildcat 34. 3 minutes, 15 seconds remain in the first quarter. The Wildcats lead 6-0 over the Gators. Quarterbacking with Harry Spears. Harry gives to Deering. Deering, they fake it to Deering and give it, they do give it to Deering. They fake to the left halfback and give it to Deering, and Deering gets to about the 30-yard line before we stop him. Stopped by Jim Proffitt, defensive right end for Kentucky. A pickup of 4 yards on the play, makes it second down and 6 at the Kentucky 30-yard stripe. Harry Spears quarterbacking the Gator number 2 unit, which consists of Watson and Haddock at halfback. Our fullback is Joe Deering. Up for the ball is center Sonny May. The Gatton gives to Haddock wide. He cuts back, goes to the Kentucky 5, stays on his feet and rolls to about the Kentucky 24-yard line. Nice pickup. Tackle by Hennessy. 5-yard pickup by Sonny Haddock. Shy of a first down by just about a yard. Third down, a yard to go. Down to the Kentucky 29. On the quarterback sneak. Spears lunges in. He needed about a yard, and he was struggling for yardage in there. He needed just about a yard. Stop at the center of the Kentucky line, led by Duke Canute, and Dick Rushing, the linebacker, on the right side. Now we're going to go out and get the chain to see if Mr. Spears picked up the necessary yardage on the quarterback sneak. He needed about a yard, and it's going to be very, very close. It looks a little shy from here, but we're sitting at an angle, and when they stretch out the chain, we'll know. Kentucky making a substitute. Moving one in. It is a first down. First down, 10 to go. So Spears picks it up. First down and 10 to go. The ball's on the Kentucky 18-yard line. Rather, the Kentucky 23-yard line. Bradley Mills checks in for the Wildcats to the right halfback, replacing Fillion. Here's ball, first and 10 on the Kentucky 23. Spears gets to Dillon. Pitches out wide to Watson, who cuts back. And Watson is down to the 20 before they stop him. Watson to the 20 before he stood up on a hard tackle by Harry Kirk for the Wildcats. A gain of 3 yards makes it second down and 7. The ball is on the Kentucky 20-yard line. A minute 39 seconds to go here in the first period. Kentucky leading 6-0 over the Gators. Harry Spears quarterbacking. We have Fowler and Cassidy at tackles. Haygood and Martin at the guard post. Our ends are Charlie Manning and Ray Brown. Spears drops back the pass. Goes one, complete up the middle to Dillon. He's at the 15, at the 14, goes to about the 12 before they bring him down. Dillon, on a play right up the middle, is hit by Spears beautifully for a first down. Beautiful pass play up the middle. Spears pitching to Bill Deering. First down and 10 to go for the Gators on the Kentucky 12-yard line. On the Kentucky 12. While we have a timeout down there on the field, suppose we get a good word from old friend Saul Fleischman. How about the drive, Saul? Well, if it's for the Florida Gators, boy, it is a good word, because Otis, Florida has just made 4 consecutive first downs. Kentucky's made 4, and Florida has made 4 to add to that one to give them 5 first downs. The score is 6-0 in favor of the Wildcats, but if the Florida drive continues and the Kentucky Wildcats cannot hold up within that 11-yard line, the Gators should be in there for a TD. But this is no prognostication. This is just on past performance of the last, 18 plays since the kickoff went to Spears on the Florida 38. The ball has been worked all the way down to about the 12. It might be on the 11. I guess it is. The angle here is a little tough to see to our right. It's on the Kentucky 11 or 12-yard stripe, right? Deering received that pass a moment ago. It was a honey. It was down at this 12-yard stripe for a first down. That was the 4th consecutive first down. The first one was made on a pass to Ray Brown. He made about 4 yards. And then the second first down was made by Watson. He went to the Kentucky 34. And the third, yes, here it is. That was the one when Watson went to the 20 on a 3-yard run. And then Deering just caught this one go down to Kentucky 12. So it's 6-0 in favor of Kentucky. Florida's first down. They're on the mark. They're down within that 12-yard line and still going with 57 seconds in the first quarter. And here's Otis Boggs. Okay, Saul, time for maybe a couple of more plays. Spears lays the team out fast, and we're going to have to lean way over to the right and watch the play. Spears gives it off to Deering. He's down to the 5, the 4, the 3, the 2, and stopped at the 2-yard line. Deering bursting through like jet lightning off right tackle. Ripped it down to the 2, and boy, he was wheeling and dealing as he went off Kentucky's right tackle with a key block thrown by Art Cassidy. Joe Pomar spotting for Florida tonight, and Larry Rose spotting Kentucky. That makes it second down and just about a yard to go for a first down. They give it in to the left halfback who bucks in, stopping the right side of the Kentucky line. That was Watson, who tried to knife it in for the first down with 24 seconds to go. How close they came. Watson tried the right side of the Kentucky line, stopped with a mass of the forward wall. He was trying to make it first down and goal to go. And I don't believe he made it. No, he did not. It's short by about half a yard. Now the Gators come out fast into the sea. Over the ball is Spears. Spears at quarterback. Gives it in to Deering, who's in for the TD. Deering scores off Kentucky's right tackle. Deering drives through with tremendous power off Kentucky's right tackle to score, and it's all tied up 6-6. That was a quick opener over on the right side with some nice blocking thrown by Dick Watson, who kind of led the way there. The little bumper from St. Augustine led the way for Deering. And here goes the Spears out to get the kicking tee from the sideline. And Harry will do the kicking. Now, with 15 seconds remaining in the first quarter, it's all tied up 6-6. Deering has just put the Gators right back in the ball game. Now, Spears will do the putting. Holding will be Tommy Haddock. We have 15 seconds remaining in this, the first quarter. Waiting on the snap from center. The ball is on the ground. The kick is in the air, high and over, and it's good. Way up between the uprights and into the end zone seats. A pity by against Harry Spears, who towed it through, and it's 7-6. Well, Sal, we're getting ready for the kickoff. And you're all set to go over there. How about a word from you?
Oh, well, Otis, for the Florida Rooters over here, they're really going mad out there on our side of the field. And if you don't believe it, I want you to listen to this cheer down there. Remember, the score is 7-6. Florida's ahead. And the cheerleaders are getting set for a Florida score while both clubs are getting ready for the kickoff by Florida. Let's see if we can reach down and listen to how many Florida Rooters we have here. Take a look. Okay, well, that was a few of our people, and that's the end of the first quarter with the score 7-6 in favor of Florida.
Next week, drive a better used truck. University Chevrolet in Gainesville is the place to go for really fine used truck value. Used trucks like this amazing Borgen, a 1952 Chevrolet half-ton pickup truck with excellent tires and a smooth-running motor. It looks and runs like a new truck for the price of $10.97 at University Chevrolet.
Back at Schofield, this is the beginning now of the second period. It kicks off for Florida. Tremendous boot. High end over end. Dick Mitchell waits for it. Kentucky 4. He's up to 10, the 15, the 20, up to the 25, the 30, and goes forward about the 33-yard line before he's brought down. Dick Mitchell running for the Wildcats. Brings it up and is tackled by Steve Delatory as he gains the Kentucky 33 with the Wildcats take over first down and 10 to go. Casares is back in. We have Doug Dickey in. And we'll get the rest of the lineup for you in just a moment. I believe that Casares is coming out, too. Rick is out of there, and Brodsky goes back in. Casares was just in to kick off. Time ran out on us just a moment ago. Right now, Kentucky has taken a timeout on the field of play. And with timeout on the field of play, there is a word from your local announcer.
It always pays to be good to your car. And right now, your Chevrolet dealer in Gainesville is offering a special dividend. It's a complete engine tune-up for only $7.45. That's a saving over the regular charge, and it gives you extra pep power on less gasoline. Mileage hops up when your engine is performing as it should, and that's what this tune-up does for your car. Give it the attention it needs to keep you giving that wonderful service. Trained mechanics with the experience that's so essential to good car care, plus proper tools and equipment. All this ensures you the best in engine care at University Chevrolet. So drive in first thing next week. This engine tune-up is yours for a limited time of just $7.45 at University Chevrolet.
Back in our radio booth here, Kentucky comes out in the T formation. The handoff is to the fullback rushing off the right side. Picks up just about a yard before he's met hard by Dan Hunter, the right tackle. At the end of the yard, makes it 2nd down and 9. 2nd down and 9 for the Wildcats in their 34. They come out in the T. Quarterbacking the front back. The pass goes one up the middle. It's complete up to the Kentucky 39-yard line. The tackle made by Brodsky as Mitchell made the completion. Or rather, Joe Platt caught the ball at the Kentucky 39, carried on to the Kentucky 40 for a pickup of 6 yards on the play, which makes it 3rd down and 3. 3rd down and about 3 for the Wildcats. As a snap, the good was in the quarterback. Hunt, he breaks through up to the 44 for first down. Hunt takes it over right tackle for the first down, running the ball very well. Running it very well. Makes it first down and 10 to go for Kentucky from their own 45-yard line. Moves the ball about 6 inches away from the 45-yard line. In the second quarter play here at the Schofield, the Gators lead 7-6, but Kentucky's on the march, and they've been able to run that ball very well. Hunt quarterbacking. Up under center, left end, Hennessy is split wide. Worker is Dick Mitchell. As Hunt gets the ball, gives it into a rushing, the fullback and rushing, bucks it up to the 47 or 48. Now let's get in at pause for station identification right now. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the University of Florida Football Network.
Second down and 7 to go.
WRUF, WRUF-FM, Gainesville, Florida.
Back in our radio booth, 3 yards picked up by rushing of Kentucky. Makes it 2nd down and 7 for the Wildcats from their own 48-yard line. The left end, Hennessy, is split wide. Mitchell is a flanker. Hunt gives to rushing, who bucks it across the 50, over to the Gators 47 or 48. They may have gotten as far as the 47. He did. Nice running by Dick Rushing. 3rd down and about a yard to go. He picked up 6. Right up the middle. Delatorre made the tackle for Florida. 3rd down and a yard to go for Kentucky. They have the ball on the Gator 47-yard line. And they've been able to run that ball very well. Hunt quarterbacking for the Wildcats. Hunt cuts back on the quarterback's sneak and makes it the first down to the Florida 43. Hunt cuts back and makes it the first down. First down and 10. Brodsky made the tackle for Florida at the Gator 43. And the Florida man is shaken up on the flurry. Florida man shaken up on that last flurry. Well, a good friend, Sal Fleischman, some of those big scores from today's games that he'd like to pass along to you right now. So let's call in Sal. Okay, Otis. Thank you very much. By the way, the score is still 7-6. Right here at Lexington, and the Wildcats are moving again. Alabama defeated Vanderbilt 21-12, and Wake Forest defeated Villanova 18-12. Maryland defeated Clemson 20-0. And Navy took Dartmouth 55-7. See, we're checking on who that injured man is out there. It's Steve Delatorre. Steve's coming off his left hand. Let me put my glasses on to make sure. Yes, he's holding his left wrist. Doc Sam Langford is bringing him off the field. Sam's a great trainer, by the way, and he's holding it like as if he has done something serious to his left wrist. And in his place is Sonny May, one of our tri-captains, going in. Here's one more score. Yale beat Brown 13-0, and they're lining up. Kentucky's on the offense again, and here's Otis Boggs. Okay, Saul, the Gators in a 6-2-1. Kentucky first down, and then they go from the Florida 43. They split that left end wide again. Flanker to the right is Mitchell. There's the pitch out, and the fumble, and Kentucky recovers the ball back at their own 48-yard line. On the pitch out, the Agostino came jolting through and covered the man who got the ball for Kentucky. I believe it was Hunt who recovered his own fumble. Loses back to the Kentucky 49-yard line. Back to the Kentucky 49-yard line. Second down, about 18 yards to go. For Kentucky from their own 49. Hunt quarterbacking. Flanker wide to the left is Dick Mitchell. In the fullback spot is Malone. They pitch it wide to Fillion. Fillion up the Kentucky 45. The 50 gets across the 50 to the Florida 49, where he's chased out of bounds over on the far side. Dan Hunter and Bob Davis ride hurt on him as he gets back to the Florida 49 for a pickup of about 2 yards. 3rd down and 16 for Kentucky. 3rd and 16 for Kentucky. The ball is on the Gator 49-yard strike. Hunt quarterbacking in the top of the tee. We have Fillion and Mitchell at halfbacks. That's Dick Mitchell and Tom Fillion. The fullback is Rushing. Dick Rushing, and the quarterback is Herb Hunt. Now I see that Malone has come back in at the fullback in place of Rushing. And motion out to the right is Tom Fillion, and there is the whistle, and a penalty is called against Kentucky for delaying the game. Too much time, and that is the very first penalty we have had in the ball game. If you just tuned in, we're in the second quarter. Florida leading 7-6. Kentucky scoring the first time they got the ball, driving 92 yards. And then the Gators coming right back to take the lead 7-6. That's where it stands right now. And now Kentucky takes timeout, and with timeout on the field of play, here is a word from your local announcer.
Tired of the rattles in your car? Get rid of them the easy way. Buy University Chevrolet's fine, warranted, okay used car. See this clean 1950 Chevrolet with Power Glide. In addition to that smooth, shifting, easy driving Power Glide, it has beautiful blue paint, a radio, and plastic seat covers. Excellent tires and a smooth engine make this car a truly fine bride. It's as clean as a whistle from bumper to bumper, and it carries University Chevrolet's exclusive OK written warranty. Put your family in this four-door sedan and ride in style in a really fine car. And remember, There's something about Chevrolet. There has to be, because more people drive Chevrolet than any other car. See this one soon at University Chevrolet in Gooseville.
Back at Solfail here in Lexington, Kentucky, as the Wildcats shift in a deep punt formation. Mollinger goes by deep, gets a snap from center. His feet is a high one, straight up, way high. Hits about the 34-yard line, takes reverse English, and rolls back to the 36, where it's picked up and caught in the air by Schnellenberger on a high bounce, and Schnellenberger downs it at the Gators 36. Now we have a brand new Florida team in there. We'll give it to you right quickly. In the backfield, we have Ives, Deering, and Haddock in the top of the tee. Spears quarterbacking. Gators ball first and 10 from their own 36. They're out fast. Spears gives in to Deering, and Deering plunges up to about the 40-yard line, fights and keeps on going to the 42 or 43. Bill Deering running very, very well tonight. He scored the touchdown and put the Gators back in the ballgame. Deering stays on his feet at the 40 and carries it on to the 43. John Burgess is in at halfback. So make it Burgess and Ives at the halfback spot.